Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Around the Grounds here on THFC Till I Die, your home at Tottenham past and present. How are we all this afternoon? Philip and Brad, we're all gearing up for another weekend of Premier League football. Philip, how are you, sir? You've had a very exciting morning, haven't you, sir?
Don't you start. Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, it's very exciting. Brought me back to my time. We used to bring our own daughter to Irish dancing feshes and things, you know. But it was my wife's little niece was dancing at it, so I had to go and see her. You know, things you have to do. Today's a family week. This is a family weekend. So tomorrow to take care of as well. So no Spurs Arsenal for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Brad, look. Blue sofa songs. Brad's got his beers ready. He's got his kebab ready. He's got his scarf ready for tomorrow, as we march into the Emirates and just give Arteta a wedgie. Look, let's go over the few fixtures today. How are you first, Brad? Never go.
I'm good, thanks. I'm very, very good. Looking forward to as much as you can look forward to a North London derby tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get the right result. I'm looking at the games today as well. There's not a lot happening in the Premiership, so I'd like to give a shout out if you're watching to Jeff Lloyd in Adelaide, South Australia. His team is Oldham, so I'll be keeping an eye on Oldham's game today. I think they've got Oxford City at home, so we'll be looking at that one.
They have. Well, look, I'm sorry if the screens is not great, but what we've got: Palace against Fulham, we've got Luton against Wolves, and then Man City against Forest. Brentford, Everton's 5:30, and Burnley, Manchester United is 8 o'clock. So, Philip and Brad, we'll go through the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Just a score prediction from you both. For you, Philip, Palace, Fulham?
Tight. I'd say 1-1 draw on that one. I can't see either team really dominating that game. So 1 each.
No. Brad, what's your score? What's your score prediction for Palace, Fulham?
Yeah, it does look like draw written all over it, doesn't it? Really, I don't think it'll be a scoreless game, but I think we're looking at a draw in that one. Probably 1-1 or 2-2 or something.
I'm going to go for a 3-0 Palace win.
Oh boy.
Personally, I think Palace will roll over Fulham. Now, the Whipping Boys, Luton Town against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm going for a 1-0 Luton win here. Philip?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Luton to win 1-0. I think they've got to break their duck at some stage. And I remember their next home game is against us after this. Yeah. So I'd rather they broke their duck against Wolves and broke it against us, you know.
And Brad, we going for?
I think we're going to make it a free of us saying it's a Luton Town win. I'd also like to give another shout out to another friend of mine in Adelaide, South Australia, called Lloyd Cook, who is also a big Luton Town fan. So I thought it was great that they got promoted, and hopefully they'll get their first win today. I'm going for a 2-0 Luton win.
What? The girls are actually 3-0 up against the girls from Northern Ireland.
They've beaten over 3-0.
Now, and also the last 3 o'clock kickoff, of course, it's Manchester City against Forest. Look, it's going to be a Man City win. I'm probably going to go for a 5-0 win for Man City here. Philip, what are you going for?
I'm just watching the I have it on TV here. I'm just watching the captains get. You know who's captain in Nottingham Forest today? Serge Aurier. Serge Aurier is captain of Forest. Yeah. So when he was up at the centre circle at the kickoff, I'm assuming he's captain them. But yeah, I think 4-0 to your City with a Haaland hat trick.
Yeah, hang on. Just let me get that ad out of the way. We can't have any advertising, and then we'll try to. Well, it is only for Electric Island, but there you go. That's gone now. Good. And you, Brad, what are you going for today? Listen, I'm sorry if I hope the scores are coming across all right in the screen. On my screen here, they seem a little bit funny. So what I might do is try to put us at the bottom. Now, I don't know if that looks a bit better there. So we're going to be at the bottom. The scores are going to go up there.
Yeah, it's a bit bigger.
Yeah. For you, Brad, Man City, Forest, what's your score prediction there?
Yeah, I think Man City will win that. I think they're probably at 3-0. They look like, they're probably the best team in the world last season and won the treble. deservedly so. And I just think at the moment they're unstoppable. They've just got such a good squad, and yeah, they've got the funds to do it. So, you know, we'd love the same squad at Tottenham as well. So yeah, I think for City will win quite convincingly today, and I think they'll win the title this season.
Yeah,
pretty
I think
convincingly.
so. Now, if anyone is interested in Formula One, Verstappen got pole today in the Formula One. He was half a second quicker than Oscar Piastri, the South African Oscar, and then third place was Lando Norris. But Verstappen was half a second quicker than anybody else in qualifying, which that shows how last week's race, which he lost, was a one-off, Philip. But we are going to do a sort of a video on Formula One, me and Philip, later on to go up on the channel, because we've got to put something up there, and we might as well talk a load of nonsense, Philip, about a sport that you don't know about and something I know everything about. So a bit like the rugby tonight, actually. Roles reversed for you for tonight. He's sitting there, Brad, right? He's getting ready. He's thinking, right, time to school Dermatron a bit of rugby here. It is. We are going to win because we are going to beat South Africa.
Speaking of rugby, do England play Chile today?
I don't know, but
so.
I don't know, Brad. But yeah, I think I need to go and stick a jumper on if I was you. If you're feeling a bit chilly. Yeah, Carl Simpson. Good afternoon, gents. I have a triple captain on Haaland, so give me 10 goals. There you go. And he says, "Oh, and Philip, already on chapter 6. I don't usually read books, but I'm hooked."
Yeah, I heard that he told me this morning he was on chapter 5. He's gone on a chapter since then. I sent it again to you. I will send it to you, Brad. I have the. I'll tell you off screen what it is, but I'll send you a digital copy of a book I have, and you'll find it very interesting.
Okay.
But I got it last night. He's half already, so it's.
I'm actually reading the book by my cousin at the moment. My cousin David Matthews is an aspiring writer.
Oh, right.
He's got a book out called Death on the Path, set in Cornwall. So I've read the first 3 chapters, and it's a good read.
We've got this fella called FTSM Bobby, some Arsenal fan, Philip. That Arsenal fella again. Now, he was on to me. The Pickfords were on to me this morning, Philip. They're going to be there for 8:30 Monday morning.
I saw that. They moved it. It was 9 o'clock. They must want to get there. They want them away half an hour earlier just to try.
Yeah, I think it's to beat the traffic around the North Circular, and traffic getting into South London is a little bit tricky around that time in the morning. So 8:30, Bobby there, and the FA are coming at 9 o'clock to pick up the trophies. That they said it's not yours.
Maybe Bobby would like to explain what the FTSN stands for.
Full-time Sports Network.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Dermot.
That's who we're partnered with as well. This is our partner channel.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got you. Okay. Oh, nothing rude then.
No, nothing rude.
I'm trying to make rude things in my mind here.
Yeah, we know how you work, right? We know how you roll. Yeah, no, big up. No, fair enough. No, we went on to their show on, when was it, Philip? Thursday
night.
Yeah, and I'm going on there tomorrow, joining him on an Arsenal channel for
I don't know how you could do that. I do not know how. I mean, one of my best mates is an Arsenal fan. I could not watch a game with him. I really couldn't, because I know what I'm like. I have to say,
Bobby, Brad, this man is a gentleman. Him and Gunnar King 14, they're one of the nicest people you ever wish to meet. Even though he is a big Rangers fan and a big Arsenal fan, he is a gentleman.
They're awesome.
We'll leave that to one side. Well, big up, Bobby. He says, less than 24 hours ago, I hope you guys are ready to bow down to the Kings of London, the mighty Arsenal.
So the Kings of Leon he's talking about there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Kings of Leon, yeah. Big up, Bobby. And we've got Carl Simpson. The Bobby Arteta wakes up from his dream and realised it was just that, and you got smashed. And
we had a goal in the championship, by the way, guys.
Oh, yeah. Who scored?
It's important. Ipswich 1, Blackburn 0. A big shout out to my other mate, Kevin, who lives just down the road, is a big Ipswich fan. So 1-0. Harry Clark. What a great name. What a great name. Harry Clark.
Okay. There we go. Just up there. Philip, just give me 2 minutes. I'll be back if you just can take over for 2 minutes. Sorry.
I'll just do what's left in the Carl's not a big Max Verstappen fan by the look of it. He's saying Max is a massive tool. Yeah. No, I'll just, for anyone that's watching that wasn't watching last night, the book I'm referring to is the G-Men. It's by Norman Giller.
Oh,
About,
yes.
Alan Gilseen, Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah.
It's not been published yet, but Norman is coming on the channel in about maybe 3 weeks' time. I'd say once it is published to talk about it. But, yeah,
brilliant.
So he sent us an advanced copy of it, and it's great stuff. It really is. I mean, the two boys were. Sorry.
I follow him on Twitter, and he's sort of a nice sort of a balance to all the usual rubbish that goes on Twitter about overreactions to games and things. He's very balanced.
He was. I'll tell you how well he knew Jimmy Greaves. He actually read the eulogy at Jimmy Greaves' funeral. That's how high up the food chain he is in the Greaves household. And he also was the wingman for Alan Gilseen and Jimmy Greaves' drinking sessions during the 60s. So he tells a great story about Alan Gilseen.
Brad, it's Philip talking about his days of drinking when he was out partying again.
I was trying to tell Brad about Alan Gilseen till you butted in. No, what he was saying when he was asked about, they were talking about comedians or something. Somebody asked him who was his favorite double act, and he says Bacardi and Coke. Man City just scored. Foden just scored for City.
Yeah, just saw that come up there. I've now got Sky Sports on my other screen eventually, after me trying to look like a monk, because what it is, where my setup is, the Vodafone box. With the Sky box, you could have done it through the telly because it's quite easy to do. But with Vodafone, you have to stand in front of the box to change the channel. So I was standing like a monkey at one point, trying to look at the screen and trying to get it right. Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in on you, Philip. Sorry, I do apologise.
Okay, apology accepted. City 1-0 up now. That's them. That's a bad start from Nottingham Forest.
That's Phil Foden scored after 7 minutes.
Nice goal, actually. Did it well.
Yeah, Stevenage are 1-0 up against Cheltenham. Lincoln have taken the lead against Portsmouth. Akabilkon and Barnsley have taken 1-0 up against Northampton. Callum Stiles and Jordan Roberts got to go for Stevenage after 7 minutes. So
our under-18s beat Reading 3-0 this morning. So the underage team still continue to tear it up.
Yeah. And we've got here, hello, it's a swim master. Hello, gentlemen. Really looking forward to this one. Coys. So are we. So are we. Philip is so excited. He's going to bed early tonight, so he can be up early in the morning. Brad is going on an all-night bender because he says, sod it, I'm going to turn up to the Emirates with 25 cans of lager and a bottle of Bacardi.
I wish I was turned up at the Emirates, but they only gave us 3,000 tickets, so I wasn't able to get one. But I certainly will be down the pub watching it. I'm basically not going to drink tonight, and I'll wake up tomorrow morning. Not really look forward to a pub day. So
we have a goal. Portsmouth have equalised. Lois Lane has equalised for Portsmouth. No, it's Lane actually. I don't know if it's Lois Lane, but
Superman
it's Lane
scored
anyway.
the first goal, didn't it?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Who got the Foden assist? Carl's is asking. We don't know.
I didn't. I wasn't watching the assist.
No. Are we quite right down the bottom here, lads? Or do you want me do you think we'll be right at the sides? This is new for us, how we're doing it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Who wants to look at us anyway?
It's currently Oldham 0, Oxford City 0.
Yeah.
I've got key events on my phone, and the key event so far is the kickoff. So,
yeah, I hope you like our new scoreboard I've got for us tonight, Philip.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a little surprise for you. Now, I wasn't sure. Are South Africa named South African rugby, or are they just called the Springboks?
No, South Africa.
Okay, that's grand.
Springboks is a nickname.
Yeah, Rotherham 0, Preston 0. I'm in the championship. 7 minutes gone. Some fellas on there talking. Don't know what he's saying, but he's saying, I think I went to the chip shop last night and they came out with sausage and chips instead of fish and chips. I'm very angry and I'm going down to Rotherham Fish and Chip Shop to have a go at the manager. He keeps talking about fish and chips all the time, Brad. I don't know what he's on about, but there you go.
Bad luck for my mate Kevin. Blackburn have just equalised. Sigurdsson has scored after 9 minutes. That's not our old Sigurdsson, is it? No,
I think it might be, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
We signed from the club, but I'll check it here.
No, it's not. It's Arnor Sigurdsson.
Arnor.
Yeah.
Cove Rangers have gone 1-0 up against Edinburgh
what
City.
A great name. Sorry. AFC Wimbledon have taken the lead with the goal scorer Conan Lemonhe Evans.
I was going to say, Brad, could you name him?
Wow, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
The Lemonhe Evans is a double barrel one as well.
Yeah.
There's a goal. Oh, sorry, it's Oxford United, not Oxford City. Sorry, I got all excited there for my mate Jeff in Australia, but it's an Oxford United rather than Oxford.
Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat if you like how we've got this audio ferret the old way, off down the side or down the bottom. So let us know in the chat what you like. We will be getting these around the grounds better. Me and Philip have a plan. We have a plan, but Philip's a bit like your man out of the A team. Who was the leader of the A team, guys?
The guy with the blonde hair, wasn't it? George
No,
Pickard?
the fella with the cigar, Hannibal. Liam Neeson played him in the remake of the A Team, which I actually really enjoyed, by the way.
Did you know that I've never ever watched an episode of the A Team?
Are you kidding me?
Same, yeah.
You need to watch the film. Liam Neeson as Hannibal for me is brilliant. You need to watch that film. St. Mirren have taken the lead against Hearts. Strain after 7 minutes. He strained to get that one in.
Kyle Walker.
Was it Kyle Walker?
Yeah.
Anyway, Philip is like Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal at the 18. Philip always has a plan.
Like Hannibal Lecter, slight difference there.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Philip. I never liked him as a player, Clinton Morrison.
Hannibal Lecter?
No. He would be.
Morrison,
yeah.
He was all right. Not the guy. He was all right. He wasn't great, but
I do believe he's a Tottenham fan, isn't he, Clinton Morrison?
He is actually. There's Tim Sherwood, somebody who thinks it's a Tottenham fan, and he really isn't.
He's at the Luton Wolves game, or watching the Luton Wolves game.
We've got Carl Simpson said Brandy's doing his cameo impression. Oh, there's a goal. Oh, no, wait, don't worry.
I don't know, Jeff.
We are going to nickname you Cammy now. That's my nickname for you now, Brad. Would you like to explain to Philip about my my appearance on Dave's channel last night? You came after me.
It was
how
brilliant.
would you describe it in one word?
It is just full on. It was like, wow. Yeah, straight at you. And there's been at the end where I was actually getting quite teary. It was like really emotional. Yeah, it's spot on. It's spot on. Hard to follow, for sure.
I'll watch it later on. I haven't seen it yet.
No, Brad, Philip's been holding me down all week, Brad. Seriously, I mean, to be fair, Philip, delusional hasn't been the word this week for me, has it?
The funniest thing about the show was
multi.
The funniest thing about the show, and I totally forgot to bring it up when I was on. The funniest about the show was David calling Chirpy Chippy. Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah. I was thinking, right? He was saying to me, going, "There's Chippy," and I'm thinking, you sure it isn't Chirpy? And I thought, no, I don't want to say to him in case I'm wrong, so I'm going to say nothing, just go with it.
It wasn't even the accent,
I know.
Sometimes it's the accent, but that wasn't even that. It's Chippy, right?
Dunfermline have gone 1-0 up against Morton. Craig Wingerton after 8 minutes. Arbroath have gone 1-0 up against Park Thistle. Swindon have gone 1-0.
Oh, yeah.
You go on, Philip.
The Freak has scored again.
Well, Carl will be happy. Who scored? Was it Haaland?
Yeah, Haaland. Good goal, actually. Yes. Well taken.
Yeah. Tranmere, as you can see on the screen, I've gone 1-0 up as well. Josh Hawkes after a penalty after 14 minutes. Swindon have gone 1-0 up against Morecambe. As Philip has just told you, Man City have gone 2-0 up. Philip, are you watching that game on Premier Sports by any chance?
Yeah.
I thought you would be.
Yeah.
Thought you would be.
Holiday, there's no one near him in the penalty. A good cross in from number 20-something. Clear head. Nobody marking him. He can't play against Haaland like that.
I've just had a text message from Reed Recruitment. How did they get your numbers? I must be on their books somewhere.
What are they looking for you to do?
Good day. My name is, I won't say his name, from Reed Recruitment. Are you interested in flexible role? If no response, auto unsubscribe. All right, fair enough.
His name was Bob. That's what his name was, Bob.
Well, Bob.
We've got Swim Master here, Philip. Talking of fish, I had to take my fish and chip shop back to the chippy, not chirpy, chippy. I said, I don't think the fish is fully cooked. The owner said, what makes you think that? He said, because I have to chip. Very
good. Yeah.
Plymouth have gone 1-0 up against Norwich. There's a funny looking fellow. It looks like he's dressed to go to a wedding. No, more like a football match.
Oh, this is the guy that, I know the guy. I can't think of his name.
Yeah. The format is just fine. So they like this new format, Philip, we've stumbled onto.
Sorry. Yeah.
Carl Simpson, triple captain, baby. I love that beautiful Norwegian fantasy football point scoring machine. Big up, Carl.
See this game being about 7 or 8-0.
We've got Jazz
Jones. I always think of the Clash song, Jimmy Jones, whenever that name comes up.
We got Jazz Jones. He says same as. LOL.
Oh, we've got a goal in the championship, guys.
Where's that, Philip?
Middlesbrough 0, Southampton 1. Adam Armstrong has just scored.
Oh, Adam Armstrong. And then Carl said, Brad, are they offering you the Chippendale job?
In some alternate universe, I'm a Chippendale, definitely.
Now, if you are, I know a very good manager. Philip can be a manager. He'd be very good.
Somewhere in there must be a universe out there somewhere where my body is sought after.
Yeah, if anyone's wondering when this hasn't been...
If you're watching National League, it's Oldham 1, Oxford City 0. Devon Green has scored after 14 minutes. So there you go. I hope you're watching, Jeff. And your team are 1-0 as we speak.
Now, am I supposed to start cheering or something? Hey! If you're wondering why we're not on Facebook, there's a funny story behind this, isn't there, Philip?
Well, it's not our allegedly, yeah.
It's not our fault, actually. We won't mention. Do you want to tell the story, Philip? Go on.
Well, all I know is there was discussion, and maybe not last night, maybe it was the night before. I'm not quite sure, but there was about the naming rights of the stadium, and some let me see, how will I put it? Some products that would be of a gentleman's nature, were used by gentlemen for a certain purpose, were mentioned quite frequently. And I'm not going to mention them here in case we get cut off on this one, but let's just say that Facebook took offense and banned Dermot for 48 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mind you, Facebook can take offence at a lot of things that you wouldn't think would be taken offence at. I can't think of an example, but I know that one of my friends got suspended for something stupid that they put. It's something totally inoffensive.
This is only banter,
Yeah, it is. Dundee have gone 1-0 up against Kilmarnock. I'll let you pronounce that name there, Cammy.
It's Buckeye, isn't it? Buckeye, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And also, Burton have gone 1-0 up against Fleetwood, Joe Powell.
And my mate Kevin, are we happy? Ipswich are now 2-1 up against Blackburn with Nathan Broadhead scoring after 18 minutes.
Derby have gone 1-0 up against Carlisle. Notts County have gone 1-0 up against Forest Green. And Philip's favourite person in the whole wide world is at the moment speaking on the telly, Philip, and you're missing him.
I don't care. Nottingham Forest have broken out into the city half and have a free kick on the edge of the city area. This could be tricky now. City player was booked for the foul. So let's see what happens here. Of course, Pep was not too pleased. I think he might have got booked for it.
Yeah. I tell you, this Blackburn Ipswich game is turning into a good game, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Blackpool have gone 1-0 up against Reading. Jordan.
Yeah,
Rhodes,
Guardiola was booked. Now let's see what they're going to do. We laugh if Forest scored here now. It'd be great. We'd make a game of it.
Are you guys aware that your women's national team beat Northern Ireland 3-0?
Yeah.
Yes. There's a record crowd for 35,000 people, rather.
Wow. Do you know what Derville said to me this morning, Philip? She said to me that we should concentrate more on the rugby and the women's football side and forget the men's side. I think she's got a point.
No, not the rugby. No, I don't think so. Don't really. It comes down to it. Football. The men's side is going to be the one that draws the crowd. To be honest with you, it's not a bad idea for maybe the odd weekend, but not fully.
Yeah, but the men's side can't even qualify for a tournament.
The rugby's over in October, next month.
Yeah, but look, but Philip, we can't even qualify for a tournament with the men's side. At least the women's side have actually qualified for a tournament.
Yeah, that's true.
And there is an idiot in charge.
All that the league will have, I don't think.
Notts County have gone 1-0 up against Forest Green. Crawley after 90 minutes. We've got a few people in. Jazz Jones, afternoon panel, peeps in chat. We've got Carl Simpson, Dermot showing naked pictures on Facebook again. No, I wasn't. You're going to get us banned off here now, Carl, if you keep going on. We get suspension on here as well.
Hello, David Clark.
The big up to David Clark. How are you in Leicester? Hope it's sunny because it's very cloudy here in Wexford. We're under a weather warning for tomorrow. It says, chap went into a fish and chip shop, asked for a cod and chips. We're out of cod. Cod and chips, please. We have no cod. Cod and chips, please. What do you get if you take the P out of place, Lace?
I don't actually get that.
I'm laughing because I'm laughing at myself because I'm.
Here we go. Yeah.
What if you take the F out of cod? There'd be no F in cod. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Yeah, I think the original post wasn't the actual punchline. That's why I didn't.
It wasn't. No. Celtic won today, Philip, 3-0 against Livingston.
Yeah, and Joe Hart was sent off as well.
Oh,
yeah.
It's amazing how many teams I know people that follow, because Cambridge United are 1-0 down at home to Port Vale. Another mate of mine in Australia, Michael Johnson, follows Cambridge United. Well, actually, he follows Leeds as well, but Cambridge is where he comes from.
Yeah. Ben Garrity after 20 minutes for Port Vale.
Who incidentally is Alfie Thingy's playing for, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's playing for Port Vale, Alfie Devine. I wonder if he's playing today. Let's have a look to see who's playing today.
Stockport have gone 1-0 up against Wrexham. Isaac Offal after 21 minutes.
Offal, that's a good name to have.
I think it's Offal. Yeah, a bit for a way. And Leighton Orient, Daniela Zito will be over the moon with this. Leighton Orient 1, Shrewsbury 0. Ro Sititutu has scored.
Wow.
And he was the brother of Desmond Tutu.
No, Alfie Devine's only on the bench again.
Oh, is he?
That's what I hate. We send out our players on loan and they don't get bloody games.
Yeah, I think the whole loan system. I mean, they have to check, don't they? When they talk to clubs, they actually sort of say, is he going to get a game? But yeah, I
just take him back, right? Like, you won't play him, we will give him back.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Oh, no,
Troy Parrott came at last season, barely got played.
Yeah. I mean, he was taking a penalty for him in the last minute, wasn't he, a few weeks ago, and scoring the winning goal. You think, well, yeah, it's very strange. Bristol Rovers 1, Wigan 1. Wigan have equalised. Yeah. My mate Gary follows Wigan. I think most of these teams, I have a friend somewhere in the world that follows them.
I say that you've got a wide selection of football fans around the country.
Harrogate have gone 2-0 up against Salford. Sam Forlon after 23 minutes, and Bristol Rovers. Wigan have just equalised against Bristol Rovers. It's 1-1. Charlie Wake has scored after 21 minutes. So that's 1-1 there. Not much happening in the Premier League, apart from Man City winning 2-0 against Forest. And I think the rest of them are 0-0.
Well, there's not really many games happening at the moment in the Premier League. It's quite literally 3 games, I think.
I think tomorrow's going to be busy.
United game tonight clashes with the rugby as well, which is bad timing on somebody's behalf. So, any Man United fan that follows rugby will have the choice to make.
I know what choice I'd be making.
I think Burnley will beat United tonight.
I think they will. If Burnley beat United, do you think that'd be Ten Hag out of a job?
Nah.
No, they Man United, they seem to have they're not very trigger happy at Man United. I've found. I mean, Ole Solskjaer was there for ages, wasn't it, before they finally got rid of him? So I think Ten Hag is safe. I mean, look at this. I mean, they probably had a worse start last season, and he took them to I think they were in Europe, aren't they? Europe this season. So yeah, Bayern Munich. So he took them to the top 4. So no, I think they'll keep with him.
No, they won't sack him.
Philip, do you want to read this one out here by David Clark?
I knew an Irishman who took the best penalties. He could hit the right-hand post, onto the crossbar, and then onto the left-hand post, and then into the net. His name was Ricochet. Oh, God. The old ones are the best ones, all right. Yeah. Ricochet.
You know what? He's actually a DJ in RTE Gold. Ricochet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh, my mate Kevin will be really happy. Ipswich 3, Blackburn 1 now. George Hurst has scored. Well, that's Hurst spelled with an I. It's not like the Jeff Hurst.
Did we send the player out to Ipswich on this season? No.
No,
we didn't, did we? No.
I tell you, tomorrow's going to be good sport. We've got the North London Derby. You've got the Japanese Grand Prix. We've got a load of American football tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can win tomorrow. I know we can win.
Wales and Australia tomorrow night as well. It's going to be a cracker.
See, Australia lost to Fiji.
I do believe it's the Australian Rules Grand Final as well, which they actually asked Postecoglou about in the press conference, didn't they?
All right.
Let's see if I can.
And Ireland are playing England in the cricket today in the one-day international.
They are indeed, yes. Warm-up game.
I'll see how that's going.
But Ireland didn't qualify for the World Cup this time, for the one-day international World Cup, so quite disappointed.
Ireland produced one of the greatest ever English one-day players, in Morgan.
Yeah.
And
the last time we played, what's that, Philip? Sorry?
England scored 3-3-4. Ireland 3-3-5 to win. That's a tough ask.
Oh yeah. That's quite an average score for England these days in the one-day game.
Kidderminster got 1-0 up against Eastleigh. Jerry McDon, 8 minutes. We've got Bradford gone 2-0 up against Newport. Blackpool have gone 2-0 up against Reading, and Queen of the South have equalised against Hamilton Academical. Harry Cochrane.
Well, I have to say that Big Ange will be disappointed because Carlton lost to the Brisbane Lions in the preliminary final, so that would have got them into the grand final next week. Brisbane Lions won by 16 points. So sorry for the Blues.
Anyway, Blackpool have 2-0 up here. To have that. I tell you one thing. There's not a lot happening really in the Championship or the Premier League. It's all very sort of. There's a few games like. You what, Philip?
There's no real action. No real explosive action at all. But then again, we are dealing with a reduced number of games. So.
Just the Ipswich game. That's the only one.
Swansea have taken the lead against Sheffield Wednesday. Jamel Lowe after a penalty after 28 minutes.
I used to work with a girl called Anna Downing, who's a big Sheffield Wednesday fan.
Philip, Brad, is there anyone you don't know? To be fair,
no, I think I know most people.
Yeah, I think Brad's got a little black book, Philip, right? And he goes through it now. Going on around the grounds today. Who am I going to mention?
It's called the phone book.
Yeah. Brad, have you got any friends that support Bonnie Rig Rose? Now, that's a question for you.
No, I'll be brilliant. I'm sure there'll be a few people that will support them because of their name. I think I've told you this story before, guys, but my mate Jeff, who's the Oldham supporter, they discovered there's a South American team called Wanker. And they actually sent 3 or 4 of them actually sent over and got Wanker tops. So they sometimes go to the games with these tops which got Wanker written on it. It's incredible.
Swansea have against Sheffield Wednesday. Bradford have gone 3-0 up against Newport. Charlton have taken the lead against Wickham. Bristol Rovers have gone 2-1 up now against Wigan. Sorry, Charlton have got 1-0 up against Wickham. Dunfermline have gone 2-0 up against Morton. Salford have got 1 back against Harrogate. Curtis Titt is his name.
That's Tilt, I think.
I thought it was Titt. And then Lewis McCann got the second goal for Dunfermline, and Andy Cook got the third for Bradford. Hartlepool got 1-0 up against Dagenham and Redbridge. Sam Ling, sounds like a Chinese man. Sam Ling, he scored an own goal. So there you go, guys. So kick. Grimsby, of course, you can see in the screen, they got 2-0 up against Crawley. So there's another goal.
Excitement at the Oldham Oxford City game. There's been a substitution, but my Sky Sports app doesn't say what team it's for. But Zach Effingham has come off, and Alfie Potter, what a great name, has come on. Actually, no, there is a...
Yeah. Luton 0, Wolves 0. Phillips watching, of course, the Man City Bradford game.
It's not the City.
Man City.
City has just taken the foot off the pedal for a while, but the corner here now.
Who's Man City playing again, Philip?
Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
They're attacking here now, but the freak has just been pulled up for a foul. So,
we've got Grimsby, a couple of scores. Grimsby 2, Crawley 0, Blackpool 3, Reading 0. Jordan Rose got his second of the game after 31 minutes. And Kilmarnock have equalised against Dundee in the Scottish Premier League. Daniel Armstrong, a penalty after 30 minutes. So, Premier League, Palace 0, Fulham 0, Luton 0, Wolves 0, Man City 2, Forest 0. In the Championship, Ipswich 3, Blackburn 1, Leeds 0, Watford 0, at Leicester 0, Bristol City 0, Middlesbrough 0, Southampton 1, Plymouth 1, and then in League One, Blackburn 3, Reading 0, Bolton, Peterborough 0-0, Bristol Rovers 2, Wigan 1, Burton Albion 1, Fleetwood 1, and then it going too quick, and then Salford 2-1 down to Harrogate, MK Dons 0-0 against Sutton, Tranmere Rovers are beating Accrington Stanley, and then of course York did beat Woking 2-1 in an earlier kickoff. Oldham are beating Oxford. Barnet are 0-0 against FC Halifax. And then, of course, in the Premiership, Dundee 1, Kilmarnock 1, Hibs 0, St Johnstone 0, Celtic 1 earlier, St Mirren 1, Hearts 0, Celtic 1, 3-0. So there are the latest scores, guys, from around the grounds. Philip, any other games do you want to talk about? The Premier League? Are you surprised the other two games are 0-0?
Not really. I reckon that there's going to be low-scoring games anyway, so we're not really surprised. I'm just a matter of total of how many matches the City are going to get. I think. Again, I'd like to see Luton win the game because it'd be great for their fans, just to get a point on the board or two. Plus it'd be great for the guy in the sitting room there. You won't have to have these people trudging out, giving out, and knocking over his furniture on the way out of his sitting room after the match.
I reckon that's the best entrance to a football stadium ever. Gone through somebody's house.
Yeah, it is. It is brilliant.
Have you seen the Monty Python sketch where the bloke knocks on the door of his household and says, just let you know that this house has been chosen as the venue for the next test match between England and the West Indies. And they go, really? And he goes, no, only joking. And then that sort of ends that sketch. And a little bit later, there's a knock on the door and the West Indies cricket team walk in saying, I believe this is where the test match is.
Some of that Monty Python stuff is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm watching a lot of it at the minute now. It's really good. It's really ahead of his time. He was ahead of his time.
Anyone that follows and I think it's a great show. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Will be disappointed to know that Stockport are 3-0 up against Wrexham. Wrexham obviously owned by Rob McEnany and the other guy who I don't know his name.
Ryan Reynolds.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes. There's a documentary, A Fly on the Wall, on Disney about them now, about Wrexham.
Yeah.
And all that,
I used to subscribe to Disney just to basically watch I think the Sex Pistols biopic was on that or series, right. And I basically subscribed to watch that. So I sort of ended the subscription.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Did anyone in the chat or Philip been watching Ted Lasso?
No, I've never seen it.
It's really, really good. It's really funny. It's set in it's a fictitious thing called Richmond AFC, who actually they use the Crystal Palace ground as their home ground. But Richmond is obviously a suburb of London, So they do a lot of shooting round Richmond, and you sort of recognise some of the areas they do the shooting in. But
is he involved in soccer? Is he involved in football? Is he a football manager or something, Ted Lasso?
No, what it was, it's basically the owner of the Richmond wants them to get relegated because her ex-husband is a big supporter. So she hires an American football coach, an average American football coach, as the next manager who knows nothing about football, and that's Ted Lasso. And he comes over with his guy called Coach who does know about football, and it's just basically about that. It's a very it's in series 3 now. I'm near the end of it. The first series was very funny. Second series was a bit darker, and this third series has been excellent. But yeah, they there was one match where they played Tottenham in a cup game and they beat them 3-0, I think. So
they would pick Tottenham, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but they use fictitious names for the other teams, so it's quite funny.
Yeah.
We've got Bradford gone 3-1 up against Newport. Got to go against Bradford. Omar Bogle or Bogle.
Oh my God!
I think Bogle. Yeah, I'd say Bogle.
Bogle, yeah. And then Josh Mulligan has been sent off for Dundee, and Alloa have gone 1-0 up against Anna Athletic. Connor Salmon has scored for them. So Dundee are down to 10 men.
Altrincham are 3-0 up against Edsby. Altrincham was where my friend got married, his second wedding. He's now divorced again. So,
whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. There we go.
Yeah, I must mention my daughter. My daughter's is running in the Berlin Marathon tomorrow.
Oh wow! Wow!
Yes, her two sisters have gone out to support her. They flew out this morning, and she won a half marathon in Dublin a few weeks ago. So she's going for a big time. So
that's excellent. That's excellent.
Rotherham have got 1-0 up against Preston. Jordan Hoggle, after 35 minutes, I love this, at the Arcel New York Stadium. That's where Rotherham play.
Brilliant.
So the Ansel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ansel. Yeah. That's a beer, isn't it?
It's Amsterdam, isn't it? I think it comes from.
Yeah,
4-5 gone 2-0 up against John there, and Chesterfield 0, Wealdstone 1. Colin Smith after 34 minutes, and 4-5's second goal was scored by Josh Skelly, 38 minutes. Now they're just showing a pre-match build up to that game tomorrow. Seeing all them funny looking teams in red on the telly.
Did you say you're doing a watch along for the Japanese Grand Prix?
No, I won't be up at 6 o'clock.
I was going to say I've just seen what time it's on. So.
Yeah, Philip said it was too late for him. You know what Philip's like? He's always all night partying on Saturday night, so he likes a line on a Sunday.
Oh, we're advertising the NLB.
The next one, Brad, we are going to do one the next sort of either early evening or afternoon one. We are going to do a full watch along to it. So hopefully you'll join us for that on our other channel, THFC F1 Till We Die F1 channel. And me and Philip will be doing content on there very soon. We will be getting that channel up and running. See if we can get that channel to 1,000 subscribers. Then we'll have 2, Philip, at 1,000. So that is the plan. Sutton have gone 1-0 up against MK Dons. Omar
Sowami.
It's a lot of Omars playing today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wolves
have had a player sent off, guys. Jan Richer Belgrade for Wolves, foul play, 39 minutes, straight red.
So that's straight red. Luton advantage there, isn't it?
Arbroath, and Arbroath have gone 2-0 up against Patrick Thistle. Thomas O'Brien, 39 minutes. There's a good Irish fella.
If any of my friends are watching, just put a comment in the chat.
Yeah,
you were trying to say, Philip, sorry?
I was going to say that's a big advantage for Luton now, playing against 10 men for the next hour. So hope they can press home their advantage. And City have gone off the boil completely here against Forest. not really. They seem to be just sitting back on a 2-0 lead, which is not like them.
Have they got a big Champions League match coming up? Oh no, they played last week. They played last week, didn't they?
Yeah.
Right, guys. Tottenham. Just a bit of news. Yeah, just a bit of news here about Dele Alli, actually. Thought you guys might be interested in. Tottenham has set the whole new talks with Everton over the terms agreed on Dele Alli's move to Merseyside. With the possible talks on the cards, the attacking midfielder is nearing an appearance threshold that, once triggered, would see Spurs receive £10 million. It comes after a testing time for Alli in his career and personal life, following on from Pochettino's exit from Tottenham. The England international struggled for the game time under Jose Mourinho before making an exit to Everton in January 2022 on initial free transfer. The move to Goodison Park offered a fresh start under Frank Lampard, but after just a handful of appearances, he was soon sent alone to Turkey. His spell there went far from perfect, as he was soon dropped, and then injury issues came up and put to an end to his season. That over the course of the summer, Ali sat down with Gary Neville to discuss some of his difficulties in personal life that has impacted his career, from a tough childhood to addiction late in life. The 27-year-old has showed exactly how much has been really going on. And he also revealed that Everton have been a huge help in his rehab, both from addiction and from his injury. It remains to be seen when the return to football may be on the cards or whether it will at all. But there will be many that will be supportive of him once he does.
Yeah, I hope he goes well for Dele. I really do. It's such a shame what happened to him, and I hope it's a good ending, because it would make a great film, to be honest. Because we forget how good he was when he was at Tottenham. Getting to the 50 goals many months before Lampard and Steven Gerrard did. Who were considered the best midfielders of their time, and he just suddenly went off the boil, and then it just. Any club he went to, Everton and the Turkish team he went to, just wasn't happening anymore. And it's a very, very, very sad story. But hopefully he's on the mend now. And, fair play to him. Very brave to come out and do what he did. And hopefully he's getting the help he needs. And hope he's a success.
And we do 10 million if he makes 20 appearances.
Sorry, guys. It's now Oldham 2, Oxford City 0. Brennan Dickinson has scored after 40 minutes. So if you're watching, Jeff, it's 2-0 to your guys now. And it's not even half time.
Yeah, there's 7 games away, Philip, from triggering that clause in that deal.
Yeah, no, that they'll get it. Everton can't afford to pay us 10 million at the minute.
No.
So I can't think how they're going to wangle the way out of that.
Well, it says here, the rest of the article says here, Philip, Ali's just 7 games away from triggering a clause in his deal that would see Spurs net 10 million from the original deal agreed. However, for the financial constrained Merseyside Giants, there may be something of a difficult situation as they struggle to deal with the balance in the books. So it could see them talk the terms between the clubs once Ali does return. With Sean Dyche discussing the situation in his press conference on Friday, he told reporters that will be sorted out in due course, or whatever needs to be approached with his deal. He's not ready yet. He said
if he was playing, Everton still couldn't afford to pay us.
No, when he is fit and well, I'm sure Kev, the Everton director of football, rather than myself, will go to Tottenham and say, right, how can we make this work for everyone? It has never been at that stage, so we have to wait for it to get to that stage. So that's the latest on Dele Alli.
I really hope that it's not us trying to screw more money out of them. I really do. It's just what our club do sometimes is absolutely shameful. Really is.
Daniel Sandoval, big up, one love.
Daniel.
There you go. Do you know what, Philip? Can I just say something to you? I have never seen a man looking so relaxed and chilled out watching a Man City game in all my life. You're just making me so jealous.
I don't, when I'm watching a team I don't support, it doesn't bother me. But I'm watching Spurs now, I'll be sitting a lot more alert.
The best feeling as well is when there's a really good game on a Sunday and Tottenham had a win on the Saturday. So you can watch it in the knowledge that you've had a win. That's great. And that's happened a few times this season. Yeah.
Middlesbrough have equalised against Southampton. Riley McGee. Peterborough have taken the lead against Bolton. Johnson Clark Harris. One of his connection to Dave, actually. And Clyde have taken a 2-0 up against Egan City. No scorer there. Half-time, sorry, 2-0. Half-time starting to come in now. Queen of the South 1. Hamilton Academical 1 at half-time. Bolton have equalised against Peterborough. Victor.
Addy by you, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a cheers, Brad. See, you're on the ball, Brad.
Well, the way I look at it, it's all Addy Bayor used to play for us. So Addy by you. I think the J is pronounced as a Y, yo.
And
could be totally wrong.
Yeah, Ebbs Fleet have got one back against Antrim. Full fair half-time there. They're 2-0 up against Stranraer.
5 minutes of injury time at Man City.
Yeah, they're into added time at Palace as well. 0-0 being the score.
I'm really surprised it's still 0-0 at Palace and Luton and the Wolves game, actually, to be fair.
So am I, considering Palace aren't playing Wolves.
Yeah. Palace are not a bad side, Philip. I'm telling you, Palace.
No, they're not. They got badly caught last weekend. They were winning 1-0 to the 84th minute, and then Villa hit them with 3 goals. So.
Yeah, imagine that being 1-0 down, going into injury time and winning. Wow, that must be a great feeling.
It must be. It never happens to us, does it?
I know. Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Stenhouse Muir 0. So that's half time. So there's Bonnyrigg.
Bonnyrigg Rose. The top of the league.
Yeah. And it's still Leicester 0, Bristol City 0 in the Championship at the King Power. Middlesbrough, Southampton 1-1 at half time. Leicester City 0, Bristol City 0 at half time. All the half times are starting to come through now.
Yep.
Good win for Celtic though today. I think that puts them top of the league, doesn't it, Philip? Celtic.
Oh yeah, so they were still top anyway. I think it's just keep plugging away at the results.
There's half-time now at Middlesbrough. I'll tell you, Michael Carrick's doing a good job at Middlesbrough, actually, to be fair.
He's under a bit of pressure now. There are a few bad results, but he should be okay. Should be all right.
Oxford, of course, 1-0 up against Exeter. Edinburgh City 1, Cove Rangers 1. Montrose 0. Stirling Albion 0, Northampton 0, Burton 1, all half times. Inverness City and Dundee United, their half time down 0-0, all the half time. And is to have more half time scores coming up, Brad?
Nah, it's all pretty quiet at the moment. Oh, it's half time at the King Power Stadium, so it's Leicester 0, Bristol City 0. It's just been a day of nothing happening apart from Ipswich Blackburn. It's 3-1 there, but. And it's half time at Oldham. It's Oldham 2, Oxford City 0 at half time.
God, your man's on crutches. The Bristol City manager.
All right.
Right, I've got some as we're going into half time. I've got an amazing thing that happened where I used to work at Sega. This happened in 24th of August 2013. I'd be interested to know if anyone has ever a similar experience. Where I sit at work, people support the following teams: Spurs, and there's 3 of those, Plymouth Argyle, Real Madrid, Oxford United, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Leicester City. On the weekend of the 17th, 18th of August, all 7 teams won. What are the odds on that? It's incredible, isn't
it? Imagine going into the bookies and backing them all there to win.
Yeah. And then if anyone's sorry, Philip.
A friend of mine last week, he does a 10 game accumulator with Paddy Power, and he had 8 teams up, right? Crawley and Spurs to win. Crawley with 2-1 down going into injury time, and Spurs were 1-0 down going into injury time. So he more or less threw his coupon away. Effect that I've lost it, So about an hour later, he just decided to check his Paddy Power account, and he nearly €1,500 in it. Crawley got the win, and Spurs won.
Well, you know that the BBC website had the league table up wrong, didn't it, for about two hours, showing us having lost, because Chris Phillips, he thought that he didn't know that we won, because he looked at the league table and thought, and just took it for granted that we'd lost, and then found out later that we'd actually won. And anyone out there that's a bit down in the dumps, having some troubles, I've got a picture on here, and it's James Corden used to do those things in his car. So it's a picture of James Corden and the other guy, who's the ginger guy. What's his name? That's why my memory's going. The ginger guy plays guitar. Oh no, it is terrible. Who's the ginger guy who plays? Ed Sheeran. It's got James Corden and Ed Sheeran playing the guitar in the car, and it's got, just think, no matter how bad life gets, at least you're not in this car.
Yeah. Well, look, as matter like Palace 0, Fulham 0 at halftime.
There we are. Yeah, it's halftime at Luton as well. Luton 0, Wolves 0.
Yeah, halftime at Man as well, or Man City Stadium, whatever you call it. It's 2-0 to City.
Now, Philip, if you are the Luton manager and you're going in at halftime, the opposition down to 10 men, what do you be saying to your players?
I'd say it's just capitalize on the area that they're missing a man in. Try make the extra man count, because it's not always easy to win against 10 men, unless you've got experience at it. So it'll be tricky enough. Wolves, Wolves will be defending for their lives now. And Luton are going to have to be cute. Not always easy to break down teams like that. I think they will. I'd say they will.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Philip. See Kyle Walker and Phil Foden having a few words with each other.
Are they?
Yeah.
I turned over there, actually.
I tell you one thing. Man City players don't look happy coming off. They look all a bit peed off.
Jeez, they're 2-0 up there. Why wouldn't they be happy? Although Forest came back into the game pretty well in the last few minutes, but didn't create anything really.
No. Plymouth 4, Norwich 0, and Aldershot 1, Bournemouth 0. Leighton Orient, of course, is 1-0 up against Shrewsbury at half-time. So, Daniela Zeta, if you are watching, your team are winning. I'll be back in 1 second.
I'll be back in 1 second.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll take him there. Right, Brad, while the boss is away, let's start playing. Come on.
I just looking at these results. It's I haven't watched that. I wish someone, I actually haven't looked at it. I wish there's someone on YouTube has put a thing of Soccer Saturday last week.
Yeah,
when we're 1-0 down. Obviously someone will be watching the game. I'd just love to see that. I think we've all seen the one with the 4-4 draw, didn't we? When Spurs drew at Arsenal 4-4. I think they had that one on TV. But I just imagine. And then the great thing about last week's result was the fact that I knew there'd be Arsenal fans watching that, thinking, they're losing at home to Sheffield United. And then the last seconds being really down in the dumps because we got back and won the game.
How do you feel about tomorrow, Brad? All joking aside, and that, look, it's not good. We haven't won there since 2010. We've only won there 3 times in the whole of the Premier League's existence.
Yeah,
I think we have a worse record at the Emirates than we ever did against Chelsea.
Well, we seem to have poor records at Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester United. Tomorrow, I think, don't forget, we've gone into the last 3 games at the Emirates in form, or certainly doing well in the league. And we've been blown away. Haven't turned up. But we've also tried to defend. I think tomorrow will be different. I think we'll go at them. And that attack's the best form of defence. If we can box them into their own box. And the Arsenal fans, I guess like any home support, be really up for it. And they'll be shouting at top of their voices for about 15, 20 minutes. And if it doesn't go well, they'll suddenly start doing the crossword, eating their prawn sandwiches or whatever. So we've got to keep them out for 10, 15 minutes. And by keeping them out, I don't mean defending. I mean by going at them. It's probably the best chance we've had for a while. There's not a lot of baggage in that Tottenham team. There's not a lot of players that have been to the Emirates as a Spurs player and got annihilated and humiliated. So there's not a lot of baggage. They're a young team. They should be playing without any fear. And let's be honest, Arsenal are a decent team. They are a good team. So any result is possible tomorrow. And it depends on how things go. As I said last night on Irish Hotspur show, it could be like a millimetre offside decision that goes in your favour or against you. It's these sort of things that can change games. So I'm going to tomorrow. I'll be fearful. I always am, but I'm going as a confident person that at least we'll give it a game. And if we win, I'll be pleased with the draw, to be honest with you, because that's better than what we normally do there.
Mm.
But I think as long as we play really, really well, I don't think this season we're going to be challenging for titles or anything like that. So the pressure's on Arsenal. Really, it's not really on Tottenham tomorrow.
I disagree with you. I think they are challenging for something. They're in the mix. Look, if Man City slip up, which Man City could slip up, I doubt they will, but they could. If we're thereabouts by Christmas, we're in the title hunt. Now,
yeah, look, I'm not saying it's not beyond the realms of possibilities, but let's face facts here. We've had a great start. We're playing great football, but we've really got the results that we should have got. If we'd have gone into this season under Conte, we really should have been winning at Burnley, winning at Bournemouth, winning at home at Sheffield United. Drawing at Brentford, I thought was a result that we should have got. And beating Man United at home is probably the one result that was more than what I expected. But we've now come up against one of the decent teams, and next week we'll play Liverpool. So I think these two games will have a better idea of how we're going to go this season.
See, Brad, no team, we shouldn't fear no one. And look, I understand.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I understand you being sensible and probably being a less delusional than me, but I think we can go tomorrow and get a result there. I think we should not go. We've got players who have never played in. Philip's made the point that players have played in the North London derby, they might freeze and that. I think it's better to go into a North London derby where you've never been in before to make a point, to show we are good enough. We can do it. We haven't, and I said it last year, the players like Harry Kane I'm using him as an example, but other players like him let us down last season at the Emirates. Didn't perform. Hugo Lloris, Eric Dyer, all let us down. And it's great when we win there and they get off the pitch. Oh yeah, we played very well. Yeah, we got the result. Yeah, we're going to sort this out as a group. How many times did we hear that last season? Oh, if we lost the game, well, we need to sit together and sort it out as a group because
we go again. Yeah,
go again. And
keep working hard. We keep working hard. Yeah.
You think it? Why? What's there to sort in the group? You're shit. You're shit. You're shit. You're shit. We're going to get rid of you. We're going to bring players in that can play, and we'll go from there. That's it. And then you've got a manager who's saying to the players, Brad, right, I'm going to treat you as adults. I'm going to trust you as adults. The dressing room is your dressing room. I'm trusting you, but I'm going to stay from afar and watch you. But you do as I say, not as I do. And do you know what I mean? Postecoglou has got this aura that players just want to follow him.
The other thing about Postecoglou, and he said this in his press conferences, is that it's all on him if it goes wrong. He says, look, play without fear, play in this way. If you make a mistake, it's down to me. And I think that's the sort of the attitude. The funny thing is, I know you don't really follow cricket. The funny thing is, it's exactly what's happened with the England Test cricket team. They've said, go out there, play your cricket, play an attacking cricket. If it don't work, don't worry about it. Do it again. And I think that's what we're seeing with us, Ange Postecoglou. It's go and play this way. It's all down to me if it doesn't work, and that gives players confidence. So they know, well, if I make a mistake, that I'll keep going. I won't sort of shrink back. Oh, what's the boss going to say? And I think that tends to work. It means that when we see, you've seen us play this season, we're playing without fear. We're enjoying our football. We're not afraid to do things. And I think that seems to rub off. And yeah, look, we'll lose some games this season. We'll come up against a team. Yeah. Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, who will be able to get passes and score goals, but that's part of this progress, and I think it's going to take at least until this is why I think the FA Cup could be a real possibility this season if we get the right draw, obviously in it. Luck plays its part there. So I think by the time the cup comes around, we'll be playing his system and playing it more instinctively than I've got to be in this position, I've got to be in that position. So I think, and then obviously the following season, if you keep the same nucleus of players, then you're going to have that. It's going to get better and better.
I think this season the FA Cup's ours for Brad. I really do. I think our name's on the cup already.
Well, I have to say, and I don't normally tell people my bets because I think it puts some mockers on it. But I did place 2 bets. I got some free bets with Bet365. Other options are available, and it was I put £10 on us winning.
Bet responsibly as well. You should say also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gamble responsibly. I bet £10 on Spurs winning the League Cup, which obviously didn't work. But I've also got a £10 bet at 13 to 1 on Tottenham winning the FA Cup. And I've also got a bet at 40 to 1 on being a 3-all draw tomorrow, which is also the bet I had on Brentford Spurs, and it was 2-all. So who knows?
Yeah. No, we're going to go there. We're going to win. We've got a few comments to go through here, Brad, so we'll get through them. We've got Jazz Jones. Anyone fancy Burnley getting the result against Man United tonight? I do. Very much so. I think Burnley could do them over. I don't think United are sorry, Colin, if you are watching, sir. But I don't think Man United are anything special this season. I think there's too much off the field. And it's packed in under. And then you got the leaks that are coming out of Old Trafford. Ten Hag's lost control of the dressing room, I think.
Which is strange because he seemed to have it last season, didn't he? He got rid of Ronaldo. Didn't take any crap there.
No.
But yeah, this season seems a little bit different.
He's back. The main man's back, so we'll behave ourselves now.
That's a really funny story you told me about Philip there. Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was about Philip dancing on the ceiling.
To your optimism, which I think is absolutely brilliant, and I did like what Postecoglou said about that, where he said, "Oh, fans getting carried away," and he said, "No, why shouldn't they? It's that enjoyment of football. It is us to play, to give them, to up. I can't remember his exact words. Up to us to play to what they're expecting. So, yeah.
Can I put this question to you from Matthew Philip? I would love your thought on this. Me and Brad were talking about Burnley, Man United. Will Burnley? Jazz Jones asking, will Burnley get a result? Do you want to fancy Burnley getting a result against Man United? And me and Brad both said we could. But this is a good comment here from Matthew, because me and Brad got talking about Ten Hag and the leaks and everything that's coming out of Old Trafford, and has he lost the dressing room? And he said, who would Ten Hag blame now? First Ronaldo, then Sancho, now who?
That's an interesting comment.
Yeah, Brad, Philip, I want to ask you a question, right? With all the off-field problems, with all the problems now with Ten Hag, is United turning into a bigger circus without Ronaldo than it was with Ronaldo? Do you know what I'm getting at? Yeah.
They've been pretty unfortunate now with what's like with the Mason Greenwood thing, and their fans. The fans we talk to are totally disillusioned with Manchester United. They're not disillusioned with Ten Hag yet. They think he's probably the solution, but it just seems to be. I think what's happened to United was when Ronaldo was there was clicks in the dressing room, right? And I think by getting rid of him, they thought this would get rid of the clicks. I don't think that's happened. There's rumours now. There's stuff in the press today here in Ireland this morning that Ten Hag has favourites in the dressing room. They can do no wrong. No matter what they do, they're going to be picked, and that's causing resentment with the other players who are not in that particular list. So I don't know if Ten Hag's position is going to stick that. It's going to be as strong as it looks for much longer.
Just sorry, Brad. Don't mean to cut off. This is going to you as well. I'll start with Philip and come to you, Brad. Philip, what do United need? Do they need another Alex Ferguson type figure to come into that club and grab it by the scruff of the neck and sort of bring it back to its? Look, we all at Tottenham would shout we wanted to go back to our DNA, our principles. Do you think United needs somebody like we've got, but to come in like Fergie, a Fergie type man, to bring Man United back to its principles, back to its DNA?
Yeah, but who's out there that will take on that job? Should be. Oh, excuse me. What United need is, with Ten Hag's approval, is for Alex Ferguson to lock that team in the dressing room for half an hour and go in there and give them a right doing, a right bollock, and telling them what's expected of them. That this is not the way that United do things, and get back to the values that they're used to playing at. That might have some use. As to who could replace Ten Hag and come in, I just don't know. I just don't know who's out there.
I think. Look. Let me let straight on the line. I don't really care. I really don't. Yeah.
No, we don't care. But
Go on there.
It was interesting that the gentleman who mentioned now at Sancho. I mean, I don't really know what's gone on there. Sometimes you get players that maybe think they're too big for their boots and managers have to act accordingly. I think the Ronaldo situation, I think, came to a head when he walked off, didn't he? That game, and we don't know what's going on there. So maybe Ronaldo, as you said, Philip, Ronaldo's having a negative effect on the dressing room and this sort of thing. And once that happens, you've got to act, and maybe that's what's happened with Jordan Sancho. As for the actual team and what they're doing, we seem to forget that they finished top 4 last season, and they lost in their first 4 games. They were rubbish, So it might be the same this season. They might suddenly start playing good football again. But yeah, I think his job's safe because, as I said earlier, I don't think Man United tend to be trigger happy when it comes to managers. I mean, Moyes was there for a time, wasn't he, when it wasn't working? So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I understand what you're both saying. You don't care. Look, I don't care either. But United are a big club. They are one of the glamour clubs of the league. Do you know? I think they're. Look, for me, I think they're a bigger club than Liverpool. I think there's more. No, I tell you why I say that. I think United were more. I think with the Busby Babes and with the rebuild of the Busby Babes after the 58 Munich air crash, I think there's that sort of. They've got that sort of affection. I think people do have an affection for Man United because of that. Yeah, we know Liverpool went through their troubles as well with Hillsborough and Heysel.
There's a bust up on the pitch at Main Road. A red card for the City player. Oh my God, that was stupid. The guy went out for a corner and he shouldered the Manchester City player who reacted, pushed him in the chest, pushed him again, and now he's got sent off. I'm trying to see who it is. It's is it Rodri?
Ooh,
I think it's Rodri.
Ooh,
that's a bad loss.
Hold on now. The Anthony Taylor's they're all surrounding the referee here now. Rodri's pleading his case.
Right.
Hopefully they'll go and check this on VAR.
Right. We've got Erwin here. Right. This has actually stirred up a bit of chat in the chat. And I think it's look, we are going to keep you up with the score. The other scoreboard is not working. So what we're going to do, me and Brad are going to keep you up to date with what we see on the screen on our screens. Philip's going to keep you up to date with the Man City game. But we are going to go into chats as well.
Oh boy, I've never seen that happen before. Now, Rodri actually caught the Forest player by the neck.
Oh fuck! Now
we are going to.
Now, Philip, Conte, is that the one you're on about?
Who's that now?
The comment for the Man United job. If Ten Hag, you said who would take over?
No, I wouldn't. No, I would never suggest Conte for any club. I wouldn't fit him on anybody.
Nagelsmann, well, he's just become the new German manager, which is. I think that's a good choice by Germany, by the way, for their national team manager.
It's really funny how we get in this bubble as a Tottenham supporter because obviously Nagelsmann was linked with the club on many occasions. And I said to my manager, who's a Brentford season ticket holder, I said, "Oh, Nagelsmann has been made the coach of Germany." And he goes, "Who?" And he didn't know who he was. So it just shows you how we get in this bubble where everything going on at Tottenham, we think everyone else knows about. So he'd never heard of Nagelsmann. To be fair, we probably wouldn't have heard of him either if it hadn't been linked with Tottenham a number of times. But yeah.
Will McDonald says, Philip mentioned that one of the players from time gone by he never saw play. Can he remind me who?
Oh God, maybe it's John White. I didn't see John White play.
Maybe that was it, Philip.
And just go back to the Man City game a minute. Yeah, VAR has upheld the red card. They actually looked to check it, which is ridiculous.
Oh no! There's bad news from Luton. Sorry.
Oh, Wolves have gone 1-0 up. Yeah, I've just saw that.
Scored.
Yeah. Owen says the problem with United is the media, not the fans. Keep banging on about Ferguson. What's he done? Let me read.
And what he's done, Dermot, not what's he done.
Oh, what? Sorry. Do you want to read that out, Philip? Sorry.
Yeah, the problem with United is the media, not the fans. The fans keep banging on about Ferguson and what he's done. It was a different time, different players. United will never achieve everything. anything if they keep going back. What I was saying about Ferguson, they need someone like Ferguson to go in and tell them a few things, tell them a few home truths, not to manage the club, just to go and have a word with the players and try and get them back on track again. But yeah, certainly. But there is big problems there in that dressing room at the minute.
And we've experienced it ourselves, haven't we? You know, when we had that successful season under Pochettino, it was when the whole club was together, the dressing room was together, the players, the manager, the fans were all together. As soon as that started to crack, then it was all over. You know, and it's and you just look at how we feel about Postecoglou and Tottenham at the moment. We think everything's together. You know, so. Yeah, it's very, very important.
You have to have a united dressing room. It's a basic need for any successful team.
I think United. Look, it was the same when Bosby left United in the 60s. United went through manager after manager after manager after manager till they got the Fergie, and then it took Fergie 4 years to weed out the players from there to make them successful. It was the same Pochettino. Pochettino came in. It took him a season to weed out the bad players, and look what happened. It's taken Postecoglou short a time to weed out the bad players. He knew he had his homework done before he took that job. He knew who was bad, who was good. Do you think he was better prepared, Philip, than Poch was?
Yeah, maybe, possibly. Yeah.
It's early days, I think.
It's early days.
Yeah, but taking over a job, was he better prepared? He knew what he wanted to do before he went in. Where it took Poch a year to weed out the bad players. Postecoglou's come in and he says, "Right, Dyer, you're not playing. Sanchez, you're gone. Dombelli, you're out." Do you know what I mean? It seems quicker.
Well, no, Poch got rid of a lot of the dead wood as well when he came in. You know.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Has Postecoglou, was he more briefed? Was he better at his job? Was he more prepared than Poch was? Because he seemed to get out the deadwood quite quickly.
Yeah, I think he did his homework. He knew what was ahead of him the first day he took the job. He did his homework before accepting the job, I think. You know, and there was assurances given to him, I'm sure, at that time. Not all of which have been fulfilled, but most of them have.
Yeah. Do you want to read?
Blackburn have pulled a goal back at Ipswich, by the way. It's Blackburn too. Yeah, Harry Clark own goal.
Yeah. Do you want to read some of these comments out before I bring them up, Philip?
Yeah, go on. Yeah. You can't disrespect Ronaldo in that saying in that game, Ten Hag, and to him that he will get subbed on in second half. Then he didn't. He tried to sub him in the 90th minute, but that's clear disrespect to Ronaldo. I don't know. Does a manager ever tell a player when he's going to be subbed? You know, it seems, I don't know, a bit destroyed.
My dad
You're going to make it. I've only got 50 minutes. You know, I don't know. I just don't know. But Ronaldo, let's face it, Ronaldo could cause a fight in the phone box. So, you know.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the manager's call. You know, I agree with you. I don't think you say, "Oh, you're going to come on at this minute." But if he decided that he wouldn't, bring him on to the 90th minute, so be it. That's his job. It doesn't matter who the player is, whether it's Ronaldo or an 18-year-old making his debut.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think it's disrespect to Ronaldo. But
I just want to go quickly through the scores. Chesterfield have equalised against Wellstone. Ipswich are now, Blackburn have got another one back against Ipswich. It's now 3-2. Harry Clark, own goal. Sutton United, MK Dons have equalised against Sutton. Alex Gilby. And then Blackpool have just got their fourth against Reading. They're really tearing Reading apart. Jordan Rhodes hat-trick. And then Solihull Moors have gone 1-0 down to Bromley. Ben Kuhas. So there you go, Philip. Your favourite team in the whole wide world is now 1-0 down. Right, we've got Matthew said, Graham Potter for United. Do you know what? That wouldn't be a bad shout, Philip, actually.
I don't think the United fans would accept the Chelsea reject now. Maybe they would.
Yeah. Tranmere have gone 2-0 up, Philip, against Accrington Stanley. Josh Hawkes after 49 minutes there. Rotherham won, Preston won. Morecambe have had a player sent off. Jan Sanhogo, second book of defence. Notts County have gone Forest Green to go on back. And do you know who scored for Forest Green, Philip? Troy Deeney. Troy Deeney, the former Watford player.
Yeah.
And then Wycombe have equalised against Charlton. Freddie Potts. I like some of these names. They're really cool. Very quickly, Philip, we thought on the rugby tonight. How do you think Ireland will play it tonight? We are showing it live at 8 o'clock. Of course, we are doing the rugby watch along, me and Philip, of course, on here and THFC Till I Die, and of course, Full Time Sports Network. Look, it is the world champions against the number one side, Philip. Whoever wins tonight, do you think they'll win the World Cup? Whoever wins tonight?
No, not necessarily. I still think France are going to win the World Cup. I think Ireland will not be a high-scoring match because South Africa have only conceded 3 points in both matches so far. The last time Ireland played them we beat them 15-12, which is quite a low scoring compared to what's been going on so far. So I think it's going to be a very tight game. It's going to be a battle, a real battle. There's going to be players coming off that game tonight now. They'll need ice baths for a week. It's going to be absolutely rough going. I think Ireland might just squeeze it by 3 points, but it would not surprise me if South Africa won by the same because there's just nothing between them.
Now, could it be like a 9-3 or a 9-6 win?
Is it? It could be 6-3. It could be 3 each. It could be anything. But I don't think there'll be that. I don't think it'll be. Let's face it. It'll not be a 96-0 like France were yesterday.
Was it really?
I'm still waiting for the 100-point game. I'm still waiting for a rugby team to reach 100 points. We've got Peter Rem. Hi, everyone. If Tan Hag goes, I wouldn't be surprised if Conte went there. It would be consistent with the current state of draft.
Again, Conte, Conte, like Tottenham, Conte doesn't seem the right fit for Man United.
No.
I mean, they're probably I'd say 3 teams that are used to playing a certain way: Tottenham, Man United, West Ham, maybe Liverpool in that mix as well. But they're the sort of teams that play a certain way, and the DNA or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So Conte at Man United seems to me as bad a fit as. And hindsight is a wonderful thing. Don't forget, we were all praising Conte at Tottenham initially, and he done a great job to get us into the Champions League that first season. But ultimately, he wasn't the right fit for Tottenham. And I don't think he'd be the right fit for Man United.
I want to ask you a question, Philip. I want to start with you. Do you remember the year we got in Champions League with Conte? Was that more of an achievement for us, or was that more of Arsenal bottling it?
No, I'm not giving Arsenal any credit for bottling it there. I think we won our last few matches.
Yeah,
we won while they lost, and that's basically what happened. We beat. As long as I remember, the last 3 games of that. We beat Arsenal 3-0, right? We then went and got a very, very difficult win against Burnley. If I remember, it was from a penalty that was very, very hotly disputed. We got that. And then we went to Norwich and beat them 5-0. Whereas they went to Newcastle after we beat them. And Newcastle, the Newcastle beating Arsenal was what kept Arsenal out of Europe, not us. You know what I mean? No, not they won their last match. So I'm putting it, we won the games, Arsenal didn't, and that's it. And it's Nottingham Forest. Oh my God, what a miss!
Yeah,
the Nottingham Forest must go to the World Cup. Oh, hang on, they're heading each other. This is getting tasty. Allison and Goalkeeper is after the 2 of them have got booked. They were like 2 rhinos locking horns with each other because the Forest player went through, tipped the ball over the goalkeeper, went miles over the bar, and then the 2 boys start sparring with each other.
Do you want to give us an update on the scores from around the grounds there, Brad?
Yeah, Spartans FC are 2-1 against East Fife. Salford have equalised at Harrogate. It's now 2-2. Southend have equalised against AFC Fylde, Fylde. Bristol Rovers are 3-1 up against my mate Gary's team, Wigan. And it's still 0-0 in the Palace Fulham game. It's still Luton 0, Wolves 1, and it's still Man City 2, Nottingham Forest 0. And as far as I'm aware, it's still Oldham 2, Oxford City 0.
Yeah. We got Wilt McDonald, Philip. I never saw him play, but I hear how great. John White. He was.
John White was they called him the Ghost. I think if you compare a player that we've had recently to John White, with Dele Alli, he used to get into positions nobody saw him coming, and that's probably the nearest compliment that you give to Dele Alli. He was nearly as good as John White.
Yeah, or Martin Peters. I thought.
Yeah, Peters was another one like that. Yeah.
I never saw John White play, but I do remember when I first started, following Tottenham. That I remember my dad used to go on about John White. So it's the one player that I never got to see play. Yeah, I mean, I saw Martin Peters play. I'm old enough to see Martin Peters play, so that's why I think Dele Alli, certainly in his pomp, the 2 goals against Chelsea just turned up at the back post, and he was like Martin Peters used to do that, and so Martin Peters actually scored 4, didn't he, at Old Trafford? Tottenham won 4-1 there. I think Martin Peters scored all 4 goals from memory.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. We had a few good wins at Old Trafford.
Oh, so was this Matthew? I'm just saying, if Ange wins the Premiership team, what will be your reaction? You don't want to go there, Matthew.
You wouldn't see me and Philip and Brad for about a month. We'd be on the piss for a month, the 3 of us. Mind you, Philip, we'd be designated driver, and the other 2 would just be drinking Guinness all day long.
Anyone that's been to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this season and has seen the reaction after beating Man United, fair enough, 1-0, but after beating Sheffield United, okay, 2 goals in injury time. And I always say to my mate Steve, this is the reaction. Can you imagine what it'd be like if we actually win something? So it will be absolutely mad at Tottenham. My cousin, when Tottenham won the FA Cup against Manchester City, my cousin was out in the Tottenham area till like 6 a.m, so I think it'll be, you just can't comprehend it. You really can't. I think my first reaction after cheering would be to probably break down in tears because sadly my father passed away 6 years ago. And it would have been great. He will never get to see that sort of thing. And also it means that we'll be able to, I have to give Arsenal fans a little bit of credit for their song, They Won the League in Black and White. I'll give them some credit for that. It's quite that's quite clever. One. They wouldn't be able to sing that anymore. So, so.
Yeah, no, technically we didn't win it in black and white. There was colour. Do you know, we didn't walk around in black and white back in those days.
Only in the cinema, not on TV.
Yeah. Body Rig Rose have gone 1-0 down against Stenhouse Miller. Eddie Lynch.
Look, Philip's devastated. Look at his.
And a guy used to work, a sales manager I used to work with, David, will be really pleased because his team Plymouth have now gone 5-0 up against Norwich.
Norwich are getting the right roasted.
Norwich, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because they were doing quite well, weren't they, this season, Norwich?
We've got Andrew's more confident and experienced than Poch was when he came. That's probably why he has acted so decisively. Yeah, that's a very good point. Matthews. Go on, Brad. So go on.
I mean, we Celtic. I mean, everyone goes on about Celtic are going to win. It's either Celtic or Rangers, but you go there with that expectation that you're going to win. He became manager of Celtic, and the expectation is, well, win. That's all we accept. He goes to Tottenham. Wow, if he gets top 4, what a great performance. Or he gets Europe, what a great performance in his first season. At Celtic, no, mate, no, you got to win. So there's a lot of pressure there. So yeah, I think, and he's had that. He's experienced football in many different leagues. You've heard the story about when he coached in Japan, where he's he's got 3 or 4 interpreters. When he's doing his sort of changing room address. So
that must have been fun. I mean, they don't speak Aussie in Japan, obviously.
Leicester have gone 1-0 up against Bristol City. Jamie Vardy with a penalty. Jamie Vardy's still going.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Middlesbrough gone 2-1 up against Southampton. Yeah. Notts County have gone 3-2 up against Forest Green. Dorking have gone 1-0 up against Rochdale. Tom Blair. I thought that was Tony Blair for a minute there.
And Freddie Draper has scored for Walsall.
Freddie Draper. and the Cambridge United.
A real game here.
It's
all Forest at the moment.
Is it really, Philip?
Yeah, it's all Forest. United City are sitting back and letting them come at them.
I say Poch would going fucking. I say Poch would be going ballistic, wouldn't he?
Well, the owner wants to watch himself. He's already been booked, so he can't say much more.
Do you want to name the Cambridge United scorer there, Brad? You're great with the old foreign names.
Fajir Okenbeth.
Goal. Sorry, Brad. I got to stop you. We'll have a goal at Kenilworth Road. Luton 1 have equalised. Charlton Morris,
indeed.
65-minute penalty. And Solihull Moors have equalised as well. Craig.
Craig. Sitting on the break. Saved.
Yeah. So Luton have got one back now. Luton 1, Wolves 1, and Solihull Moors 1, Burnley 1. Cade Haig and Charlton Morris scores. Sorry, Brad, I didn't mean it. I just couldn't believe it when they come up with Luton equalised. Sorry, had to.
I can't remember what I was saying anyway. So
you were saying you were about to ask Philip become your manager because you joined in the Chippendales. So you needed a manager to.
Somewhere in a galaxy far away.
Somewhere in the galaxy away. Philip is a bit like Colonel Tom Parker, right?
And I hope Matthew's right here in his comment. Yeah.
He will be our greatest ever manager.
He will be. Yeah, he's got a long way. He's got a lot to do. Oh, Blackburn have equalised at Ipswich. Ooh. Sammy, I think that's a silent S. Sammy Modric has scored after 65 minutes. Oh.
Philip, you've seen a lot of managers, you and Brad, from the 60s and 70s, right, and the 80s, right? And I'll start with you, Philip, and then go to Brad, give you time thinking there. Who was the greatest ever football manager you saw in the top flight? Now, it doesn't have to be Tottenham. It can be any other manager of any league, any manager from any... If you could pick a manager from the 60s, 70s, 80s, right? Mm-hmm. Who would you think was the best ever manager you saw? And the best ever team you saw. This is nothing to do with Tottenham.
I'm going to leave Bill Nicholson and Spurs out of this.
No, that's what you're not allowed. You're not allowed to mention Tottenham at all. So it's any other Premier League team or any other manager, apart from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Probably the best team, the best manager. I think there's got to be. Now it's one of two. It's either Matt Busby or Bill Shankly.
Really?
Probably give it to Bill Shankly because he was there a bit longer. He said he had a bit more success in the 70s. As regards a team, it's got to be either Man United or Liverpool. I think I'll give it to Man United because they were the first team to win the European Cup for England. I know we were the first team to win a trophy, but they won the European Cup. I think that was a magnificent performance. So I'd say Man United as the best team in the 60s. I know they got relegated in the 70s, but that 60s team was good. And I'd say Bill Shankly as a manager.
Well, you went out of all them 3 decades. How about Bob Paisley?
No, Shankly was better than Paisley. Absolutely.
But Paisley won more than Shankly.
Bill Shankly came up with probably the most iconic saying ever that describes football and football fans. Football isn't a matter of life and death. It's much more important than that.
Which, in hindsight, is a great comment. But in hindsight, probably not true.
He made
another one. Didn't he say we were lucky to get none today or something like that?
Probably did.
Look, I'm surprised you said that, Philip, because you got Bob Paisley, you got Joe Fagan, you got the great Liverpool side.
They were all. But those guys you mentioned, they all came after Shankly. They were all Shankly's disciples.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Bill Shankly bring Liverpool up from the second division?
Yes,
he did.
He did.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
And how about Brian Clough?
The club today, I absolutely detest them. I think they're the most obnoxious club there is. But they were in the 60s and 70s. They were good.
Do you think Liverpool has gone away from its roots, Philip, from its DNA, what it was? Do you think it's changed? Or most Premier League teams gone away from their roots?
Most clubs have. Really, to be honest. As long as Klopp is in charge of Liverpool, I'll never treat them seriously anymore. I know he's done well with them, but every time I look at him, I feel physically sick. I feel like throwing something at the
TV. Brad, who was your look? I'm surprised by Philip's because I thought Philip would have said Brian Clough or somebody like that. So I'm surprised he's gone with what he said, but that's a very good choice.
I could have done. I mean, Clough wouldn't be far behind the reckoning there,
Now,
I think Brian Clough, certainly, I think it was 79, 80. He took Nottingham Forest from the second division to win the old first division, which hadn't been done since Offa at Tottenham, I think. And that's an amazing thing. And then with that Forest team, he won the European Cup twice with them. So, Clough was, and the fact he was overlooked for the England management that's cost England football dearly, really has.
That's because of the Hooray Henry Brigade, Brad.
Yeah, exactly. It was too controversial for the upstanding guys of the Football Association.
He was working class. That was his biggest problem. He was working class. That was his biggest problem.
Yeah. You're right. And he was just had this amazing. I mean, if the film about his time at Leeds is anything to go by, and don't forget it is a film. If that's anything to go by, then he probably did blot his copybook when he went to Leeds. Yeah, but a pretty amazing manager. I do agree with Philip on Bill Shankly. Bob Paisley won more things, but then Bob Paisley took over from an already successful club where Bill Shankly brought them up from the second division and made them into the power that they are today, which unfortunately we can't deny. And also, Matt Busby. Let's face it. The Busby Babes, we've all heard about that. And, 10 years later, they're beating Benfica in the European Cup final, So you've got to put something there. Managers down the year. Yeah, I think, Shankly. Ferguson, obviously, at Man United. I mean, his record speaks for itself.
Don Revie at Leeds.
Yeah, Don Revie at Leeds, although they were pretty boring. And I guess you have to say, people like George Graham and Arsene Wenger as well.
Yeah, there's a question I want to ask you too. Philip, I'm not trying to be nasty with this question. I'm really not. But you saw more 70s football than I did. I was more 80s football. So you were a young kid in the 80s, Brad. You were a young adult, teenager, or young 20s in the 70s, Philip, with like strutting your stuff.
I'm trying to think when I was a teenager.
Strutting your stuff.
It was the 70s. It was the early 70s, yeah.
I could just imagine Philip back in the 70s with his flares and strutting his stuff.
Oh, I had flares and platform shoes.
Just imagine Philip with the big hair, right, the big afro, right, and him strutting his stuff down Leitrim with his big medallion, like with his flares on. Right. Apart from that, I can't get the image out of my head now. Apart from that, Philip, what team do you know? We all go about how bad football was today. But you look at Leeds in the 70s and Liverpool and the physicality of matches back then. Was it really that much of a rivalry between Liverpool and Leeds back then? Was it really that fierce?
They didn't. They didn't send any each other Christmas cards. That's for sure. But it was the same with a lot of all like Leeds and Liverpool. There was a lot of rivalry. That was the one that broke into violence a couple of times. Remember that?
Billy Bremner,
Kevin Keegan and Johnny Giles turn and give Kevin Keegan a right hook. Good God. Football has quietened down. Like some of the tackles you got away with in the 70s, you'd be back for life. You done.
If you can watch the 1970 Cup final replay.
Yeah, the replay.
Yeah,
that's the dirtiest
Leeds
match
versus Chelsea. Oh my word!
That's the dirtiest match I've ever seen.
It was brilliant. I mean, I was a young kid, so Chelsea were a London team. So I followed Chelsea because they got to the Cup final. I wanted Chelsea to win because they were a London team, and my uncle Bill, who was an Arsenal fan, wanted Chelsea to win because they were a London team. And we went round his house to watch that replay because he had a colour telly, which in those days sort of thing. And that was you watch the first half an hour of that game, and you think, if that had been played today, there wouldn't be any players out there. They really wouldn't. They'd be sent off. It was incredible.
I think the referee lost control of that match at the toss of the coin.
And then you had like the what was the 70s football like? I love watching old football. I'm a sucker for watching his like the big match from the 70s and the 60s and I love. There's a thing with Dennis Waterman. He did Match of the 70s. He did a series every week.
Yeah. With the music background, wasn't it? Music background, yeah.
And I can start with you, Philip. From a young lad that grew up in 80s football, right? How passionate was 70s football? I mean, did it start off like with a whimper, but it ended like a tornado? Do you know what I mean with
Well,
the fans and everything else that goes with it?
it started off with a disappointment of England losing their World Cup crown in 1970 in Mexico. Germany beat them, But then you must remember, like that match you mentioned there, the Leeds Chelsea Cup replay, Brad, that was played on a pitch like with Brighton Beach. It was played at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
There was more sand than grass on us, and the referee lost control straight away. And that set the tone for the rest of the decade, I think, because then it was rough and tough. Jimmy Greaves told the story. Now, I'm not sure if Norman Giller has it in the book, but when Jimmy Greaves was playing for Chelsea as a 17-year-old, and this is going back earlier, this is going back into the late 50s, right? They were playing up at Bolton. Bolton were one of the top teams at the time, but they were very, very rough, And Jimmy Greaves was standing on the waiting for the game to kick off, and he heard the Bolton fullback say to the wing back who was in front of him, he says, "Hey lad, what we do if this number 7 comes by me?" Number 7 being Jimmy Greaves, And the fullback says, "Don't worry, son, I'll chip him back to you." That's just about something else,
It was
Bobby
crazy.
Smith, Bobby Smith, his speciality in the 60s was charging the goalkeepers into the net. This one, just a bit of history about this. It was 1961, I think the 23rd of September, maybe around now, in 1961, Spurs played their first home game in the European Cup after winning the league the season before. And we'd lost 2-0 against Górnik Zabrze in Poland in the first leg. But at the end of the first leg, Bobby Smith went up to the Polish goalkeeper, put his finger in his nose and said, "London, London, you get yours in London," right? Within 2 minutes of the start of that game, Bobby Smith had your man in the back of the net. The goalkeeper lost his bottle completely, and we won the game 8-1.
That's it. Didn't we? Yeah, sorry, go on.
That's also significant. That was the very first night the "Glory, Glory, Hallelujah" was sung at White Hart Lane.
You had the Tottenham Angels, didn't you? Didn't they have the Tottenham Angels?
That's it, the Tottenham Angels.
Which I think the Górnik game, wasn't we 4-0 down at half time or something? We actually got it back to 4-2 or something like that.
That was we were like 2-0 down, and we won at 8-1. We won 8-2.
We won that.
Can I just stop you there very quickly? Forest Green have got back to 4-3 against Notts County. A Troy Deeney hat trick.
Troy Deeney, is he still playing?
Yeah, Albright have gone 3-0 up against Patrick Thistle. Stevenage are 3-0 up against Cheltenham. Norwich have got 1 back against Plymouth, 5-1. It's still as you were in the Premier League.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening. That's why we're talking about 70s football. Right, so you go into the 70s, Philip. You got all the hooliganism now starting to kick in, and Man United are relegated to the second division. Tottenham have gone through their stance. And then you get to the start of the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Did you see a change in football from the start of the 70s to the start of the... What was it like then? It was the only way I could describe it, Philip, in a way, is you had an unpopular Tory government. There was a lot of... England was in the middle of a recession.
Unpopular Tory government? Wow, that's unusual.
It is very unusual. Usually quite popular, Brad, but it goes with the territory. Do you think football in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s is linked with society? That when things are going bad, it's football that gets hit. But when society's in a good place, football flourishes. I'm more talking about the fans on the terraces than the players.
I never looked at it that way at all. Football is always a fallback in a recession for people to watch. And
yeah, but I meant for the behaviour of the fans. Is it always linked to society? But the
few incidents that there were in the early 80s, like Heysel and all that had a bigger effect on fans.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry.
Oh. And Irving Haaland's just after missing an open goal for Man City. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the advent of the all-seater stadiums had the biggest effect on fans. Before that, there used to be an awful lot of fights and things. Now, I'm sure they still go on, but nothing nearly as bad as it used to be in the 70s.
Also, closed circuit TV has come into it as well. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you don't get away with it as easy.
Nah. I mean, there is a conspiracy. I mean, I'm not one for conspiracy theories.
It's not a conspiracy, Brad, but I'm just wondering.
Oh no. I was going to say there is a conspiracy that ecstasy was introduced into the clubs in 89, 90. Basically, suddenly football hooliganism stopped. So, just saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm just wondering because you had.
Sorry.
I'll be back in a minute, guys. Sorry, go on.
Norwich. I've heard Norwich have pulled another one back at Plymouth.
What's the score now?
It's 5-2. That'd be an amazing comeback. I think it's actually funny because as a family, we immigrated to Australia in 1973, Christmas 1973. So I really only, and it's just weird when you actually put it in these terms, I really only watched 5 years of English football as it was happening until I came back to this country in 93, 94. Because in those days, you didn't have Sky or the internet or anything like that. I think also the other thing, Philip, and you're around my age. I think as a young lad or a young girl, even it's so innocent in those days. The football is like, wow, I'm going to see a football match. You go see a football match. Oh wow, And now it's we go to the games. We still get excited, but we go to the games cynical now. And I'm very aware when I'm at Tottenham. If there's a young lad in front of me, I'm very aware of getting overcritical if the team are playing badly, like last season, because I'm thinking, that little kid's here enjoying his football because he's here for the football match. Yeah, obviously you still want to win as a kid, but it has that innocence, and I think we lose that, and it's sad. It's obviously inevitable. It's going to happen, but it's like the little lad next to me, or two. He must have been about 6, maybe. Had little earphones on, because of the noise, and Tottenham won the game 2-1, and I said to his mum, I said, it doesn't always happen like this sort of thing. And she goes, oh yeah, the last game he was at, we won 5-1 against Shakhtar. So, and it's getting players' autographs and that sort of thing. Oh, wow, I spoke to Pat Jennings the other day, and it's incredible. And you sort of, you lose that as you get older. It becomes not a job, obviously, and obviously watching Tottenham how they're playing now is a lot better than it was last season, but it gets to a stage where it becomes like a job, and I would love to go back to that innocence and that. And that's, I still got an enjoyment when I went to the new stadium, coming upstairs and looking at the ground, that first view. And as a football supporter, we have all been there when you go to your first ever live game and you walk up there and you suddenly see this big green pitch, or in the old days, a big sandy pitch in front of you. That's an amazing feeling. You can't beat that feeling. It's amazing.
Yeah, sorry, Brad. Nick's after coming through. I'm going to have to Skype off for a few minutes. I'll come back as soon as I can.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll be finishing off soon anyway, Philip. So
listen, we don't get back in. I'll see you later on. And Brad, pleasure as always.
Good to see you.
See you later.
Take care, mate.
Yeah. I'll take Philip off there. Look, as we're now nearing the end, of course, the games are going in now to the last few minutes now, aren't they, Philip? Brad,
Derby have got one. James Collins. Hello, here we go.
I always found 70s and 80s football more interesting than I think some of today's football.
Yeah, I think football now has become a little bit sanitized. And it's got its good points. And look, the coverage that we get now is incredible.
It is.
Honestly, when I first went to Australia, you'd watch either Match of the Day, and it'd be on a Monday night, but they wouldn't show the games on the weekend. They show the games on the previous weekend. So you might have had a great win against Arsenal, but by the time you got to see it, you'd lost at home to Sheffield United, that sort of thing. And it was, it's just, and obviously that changed. I used to go to the archives at the South Adelaide Library in South Australia. I used to go to the archives where they had the British papers, and I used to find out the team news and and read the reports of the matches. It's crazy. And then they started doing Soccer Weekly. That would come out, and that was English Soccer Weekly would come out, and then we had the UK Mail and the UK Express sort of thing, and it was basically every week with a composite of stories from the English paper. And you obviously look at the back pages for the football, but it was Yeah, it was difficult to much the same as music. I had to find my music. I had to wait for the latest T-Rex single to come out, or wow, look, I hear it on the radio for the first time. Nowadays, well, I mean, make your own music nowadays. So that's just the way. It's just the way things happen. I'm sure people, that are around in the 30s and 40s, suddenly when television became a thing, thought, oh, it's not like it used to be. But that's just the way football goes.
We've got Andrew Gregory says, Philip looks like he's coming down with something contagious. I think he should keep away from the family tomorrow and self-isolate in front of the telly. Well, Andrew, I will tell him that. That's a very good... Yeah, because Philip's going to miss the North London derby tomorrow. He's going out with his family.
Yeah.
And he's not very happy about it, apparently.
Yeah, one of my friends has him and his wife have just got the COVID, the latest variant sort of thing. But as we know, it's basically like getting a cold now, and it will eventually become like getting a cold. Well, it is like getting a cold. But yeah,
do you still have to self-isolate for 5 days, do you?
I don't think you do now. I think that rule's gone now. But I think it's. Let's face it, we never used to self-isolate when we got a cold, did we? We used to go into work and everything, so yeah, I don't think that's the rule anymore. Because it's not, as I say, it's been a bit boring now. The thing with viruses is they only survive if the host doesn't die. So as a virus evolves, it evolves to be less virulent. Because obviously the ones that don't kill you will survive longer than the ones that do kill you.
That's true.
So it's
very, very, very true. Very true. I've just had an emergency here, so I'm going to have to end the stream a little bit early, Brad. More than I normally do.
Let me just before we go, if Jeff is watching, let me just go and see. At the moment, 86 minutes gone. It's Oldham 2, Oxford City 0 still. So unless anything happens in the last few minutes, I mean. Don't normally see that, do we, guys?
No, I've got to pop out somewhere very quickly, which I forgot what I had to do. So do you want to give your channel a plug there?
Yes, I'm talking about music. I write and record my own songs on a channel on YouTube called Blue Sofa Songs. It's basically the way I make sense of this crazy world we live in. So all the songs are written by me, all the instruments are played by me. It's basically all done by me. So please give it a look and. Yeah, look at some of the songs. The more recent ones probably are better than the ones I did on the camera phone playing live. So yeah, please check it out if you can. And support these. I can always get this the wrong way. Support these guys on this channel as well.
Yeah,
it's a great community we have here, and it's a lot of fun.
It is, Brad, and I love your latest song. By the way, I listened to it last night, so I have liked it, and I've always subscribed to your channel anyway. So please, everyone, let's get Brad up there. What numbers you're on now at the moment, Brad? Number-wise, subscriber-wise?
I'm on 164, which is it was 160, went up to 165, went down to 161, now it's 164. So yeah, it's weird how it happens. So yeah, and the views, sadly, the views have gone down in recent songs as well. Yeah. But I'm still trying.
Let's see, can we get Brad up to 200 by the end of, by the next international break, by Christmas?
Wow. I'm definitely buying you a beer if that happens to it.
Yeah. We've got Jats Jones, thanks for the show. Matthew says thanks for the stream. Jats remember to put subscriber mode on, should bump up your subs up. Yeah, that's another thing as well. I will start doing that, actually. Good point, Jazz Jones. Might do it for the rugby tonight.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a little trick. What's a little thing you can
do? Just before you go, it's now Oldham 3, Oxford City 0. James Norwood has scored in the 90th minute. Jeff, if you're watching, looks like your boys are going to get a result today.
Yes, we are back, of course, at 10 to 8 tonight with the rugby. Me and Philip, of course, Ireland against South Africa, the world number ones against the world champions. We will see if Brad's fee for the Premier League review, Brad. We might get you on for that this week. So that should be fun.
It's quiet now because it's anyone that doesn't know, I tend to do a song every 4 weeks. So the final week I'm doing the actual recording part, which is difficult because I'm working as well during the day. So but next week is just like the start of a new period, if you like. So I'm relatively free next week. So yeah, I'm out Thursday night. I'm around the week, so definitely.
Okay, well, listen, we'll be back later. Thank you all for enjoying the show. Please hit that like button, subscription button, whatever you're doing. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Around the grounds we trust.